is my Car Guys Ultimate Junkyard and Road Trip Toolkit. So I've spent years refining this and figuring out what exactly I use, what I don't use. And I wanted to make this video a couple years back, but I didn't feel like I had enough time under the belt of this setup. So I've been running pretty much this exact stuff in here for about 2 years now in this exact bag. And even the tool bag, I've gone through a bunch of different setups, boxes, the Milwaukee pack out setups, stuff like that. This is my favorite so far. It does have a couple drawbacks, but basically this kit will get you through This kit will get you through anything you need to do in a junkyard, unless you're, say, working on like diesel trucks or something big or unusual. But anything import, generally, this has gotten me basically everything I need from a junkyard. And more or less, I can do a roadside transmission or engine swap if I had to with this kit. So, anytime, Lily, anytime. And so while I go through this, I will say some I'll list as optional, as in you don't necessarily need it. Some I will list a brand. If I list a brand, it's probably going to be something that I list in the description below, and we'll have a product link for that. That is because that's what I actually recommend, that exact product, that brand. Otherwise, I'm just saying the tools, this tool works well, get this tool, whatever your preference is for a brand. If I do say a brand or list a brand, it's because I like it. You'll see I have some baggies down here. These have spare lug nuts, spare bolts, spare nuts and washers, spare electrical fuses, butt connectors, spare wire, self-tapping screws, zip ties, duct tape, test tape, digital air pressure gauge, digital thermometer, nice, jumper pack. I especially like these, so I've used the Noco for a couple years now. I like this one a lot because it's a flashlight. It can also be an emergency flasher. And the other upside is you can use this to test electronics in the junkyard. So anything that's 12 volt, stereos, sensors, actuators, whatever you want, you can test with this, which is nice because typically they won't let you bring a battery into the yard, but I have yet to have anybody stop me with this. Tape measure, I use that all the time for measuring rear ends out for doing IRS swap stuff, engine swaps. I would say tape measure is imperative if you're doing that type of work. Digital multimeter, always helpful for finding sensors, diagnosing stuff in the yard before you buy it, since a lot of places don't have warranty or they give you trouble if you try and return stuff. Spare grinder wheels, flap disc. A lot of yards won't let you bring a grinder in. Some will let you bring a Sawzall in. So that's an either or. I'll either carry one or the other depending on what the yard will let me do. Headlamp, I can't see, so that's needed. Some nitrile gloves if you're working on a hazmat car or just something that's gross. Those are always nice to have. Adapters, spark plug socket, which is helpful for if you're buying an engine. Sometimes I'll bring a bore scope with me as well and look in the bores if I'm buying an engine from the junkyard to find if it's good condition. I do have another video about buying a junkyard engine with some other tips that are a little more basic and don't require as many tools. Then a spline lug socket. This is a great one to have because a lot of people will leave nice wheels if they have spline lug nuts on them. A lot of times you can get some nice wheels if you have that with you. Full set of regular box wrenches. I carry 9mm to 24, and then I have a spare 10mm that's extra long and a 10 and 11mm brake line wrench, whatever you want to call it. Over here, punch, I'll often carry a flat chisel with me too. This is just a little pick. That's great for electrical connectors, stuff like that. Extendable magnet for when you drop stuff, and a marker. I carry a 18-inch pry bar. That's usually enough where it fits in this bag, but is enough to get what you need done. 2 adjustable wrenches. I would put that in the optional category. This one, I usually carry a bigger one, so if you do have something that's bigger than the sockets you carry, you can use that. The tiny one is more of a joke, and I like it. Sledgehammer. This is a 3-pound. My favorite hammer, Marcus stole from me in his move and has. So, mini sledge. I don't have. I need him back. Mini sledge! Someday, I'll retrieve him from Washington. I'm coming for you, my friend. My old pal. 1/2-inch breaker bar. I don't carry a 1/2-inch impact, so I carry a 1/2-inch breaker bar. If I do need to break anything loose, the only 1/2-inch sockets I carry, I used to carry a full set. It gets really heavy. So the only 1/2-inch sockets I carry are some of the bigger sizes. So I carry 36, 32, 24, 21, a 20. For some reason, I had to get a 20 for something, and I just keep it in there. 17, then typically I have an 18 in a 1/2-inch. Those are the ones that I run into that have stuck fasteners usually. Once they're that size or larger, it'd be nice to have a 19 mil too. I should get that in there. Then standard short socket set. These I do like to split up. So I typically carry a 12-point set of shorties and a 6-point set of deep sockets. And then this is another one, kind of a random one I carry, is 3/8 Phillips number 2. That way I don't carry an impact or anything like that, but it makes removing trim and regular Phillips screws a lot quicker. And I just use my impact for that. Then standard ratchets, 1/4 inch, 3/8, 1/2-inch. I like the Husky for the 3/8, Husky 144. Those have done well for me, and even if they do break, they're a lifetime warranty and they swap them right out for me. Then I carry a full set of ratcheting box wrenches. These are Craftsman, they're okay. And that goes from an 8 up to a 19. Stubby screwdrivers, Phillips flathead, snap-on pick, one of my only snap-on tools, but this thing is awesome. Radiator pick, works great for getting hoses off and very light prying duty, even though they tell you not to. Multi screwdriver, saves a little bit of weight rather than carrying a full set, and has pretty good variety of stuff in there. This is another variation of that. A little bit of a redundancy, but this has way more options. Again, wouldn't say you need to carry both of those. One of those would suffice. Then, range of extensions, all different sizes. I carry wobbles and impacts. I use the wobbles non-stop. They're super convenient. If you do need to combine about 10 extensions, you can, and then get a whole transmission bell housing off with a ton of extensions, makes it way quicker. Then this again would be an optional. This is more of a specialty thing for if you work on BMWs or Euro cars, Mercedes, stuff like that. These are the triple E sockets. So you'll find these all over BMWs and Mercedes. If you're pulling transmissions or anything like that, they're usually those fasteners there. And then this is just another little set of Torx. Those are nice to have if you're working on that stuff. Wire strippers, nice to have. I like these pistol grip, regular needle nose pliers. They work pretty well for me. These are Titan from O'Reilly. They're cheapies, but they're lifetime and they work pretty well. And then I also carry a set of Park Tools, bike mechanic shout out. Park Tools, Allen keys with the ball end. Those are nice for random little things. Again, that would be in the optional category. And then I carry 3/8 and 1/4 inch Torx, and these are all 3/8, 1/2 inch in Allen keys metric. If you work on stupid vehicles that happen to be standard, Not throwing any shade here, but then just swap out whatever I got here for some standard tools. I pretty much only work on metric stuff. Also mandatory but not pictured here is the Hank Hill Spec Mini PB Blaster or WD-40. So you'll see as I put everything together, everything has its home. Pretty well established with how I keep this. I know where everything is. That's why I like this bag a lot more than some of the other stuff. It fits up to an 18-inch tool, no problem, and has plenty of pockets that you can keep organized. So yeah, when this is loaded up, it does get a little, I do have to dig through some stuff, but it's a relatively small tool bag that holds a lot of stuff. So pull these out. The only real like added organization that I've done with this is using these Husky zipper bags, which I like a lot. I'll do links for those. Come in like a 3-pack, and that just helps keep my wrenches, box wrenches, extensions, and E-sockets all together. And then these socket trays I like a lot. I'll have a link in the description for those. Those keep those organized, but otherwise you can see the bottom of the bag there. Everything's pretty well organized and neat. Have screwdriver pick, screwdrivers, ratchets, pliers, pens, punch, pick, and then spare hardware on the sides. I keep the PB Blaster in the side there. Torx, gloves, and jump start pack in that pocket. Allen keys here, spare lug nuts, multi screwdriver, digital thermometer, and digital multimeter. Digital thermometer is another optional one, but I like to use that for my old janky cars that sometimes the temperature gauge can't be trusted, and sometimes you got to do a roadside check. Make sure you're not overheating. And I saved all of my favorites for last. This is the stuff that I'm passionate about, the brand of, and the specific use of, and the specific model of. So take that for what it's worth. Ipex Cobras, water pump pliers. There is no replacement for these. Buy these. This is the 12-inch model. They're fantastic. Milwaukee Fuel angle grinder, 4.5-inch Fuel brushless angle grinder. Milwaukee Hacksaw. I did not get the Fuel model. If I were to do this again, I would buy the Fuel model, so I'll link a in the description to that one. This one works well, but it doesn't quite have the power behind it that the Fuel does. Milwaukee Fuel cordless, brushless, M12 cordless ratchet, 3/8 drive. Not an impact. It's not an impact, but it does do well if you do some neutral clutch drops on it. No issues yet. And the single best tool purchase I've ever made, Milwaukee Fuel 3/8 mid torque. I'll have a link in the description of this because this model specifically is the one to get. They make a compact version that is not as good. This one does 650 breakaway foot-pounds on a 3/8 drive impact. This thing will do pretty much everything I need it to as far as stuff in the yard without having to carry the big 1400 foot-pound one. This thing is fantastic. It's about $250 for the bare tool. I've been using this for 3 years now. Solid, obviously, from the looks of it. No issues whatsoever. Really love this thing. All said and done, is it heavy? Yup. Is it manageable? Kinda. I think my average weight is about 85 pounds in this bag. Bag holds it fine. Whether or not you can hold it fine is up to you. The one drawback I've found with this bag is this handle has gone a little bit iffy on me, where it doesn't want to retract after 2 years. And if your yard doesn't have paved walkways, these wheels don't do well enough, so you end up just tossing it on one of their carts anyway. Other than that, this thing's awesome.